As the sun rose over the tribal lands, the mist slowly climbed up from the valley, and the wind whispered ancient stories as it passed through the dry grass. In these lands, every generation lived its own destiny. Every young person found their own path, every heart discovered its own fire. Yet no one knew that the story about to unfold would have such a powerful impact. The chief's son, Akina, walked with a majestic posture even at the earliest hour of the morning, inspiring both respect and admiration among the people. The striped spear at his side and the lion pelt draped over his shoulder were symbols that he would one day lead the tribe. He had grown up strong, determined, and sharp-minded, always the best in every training. Unbeatable in archery, swift in the hunt, ruthless in combat lessons. But Akina carried a secret. His heart did not open easily to anyone. All the young girls in the tribe dreamed of marrying him, mothers adorned their daughters. Fathers searched for opportunities to elevate their families. And everyone competed for the chance to catch Akina's attention. Yet Akina saw no true soul behind the decorated hair, the forced politeness, or the dazzling smiles. Nothing touched him, no face echoed in his heart. For him, every ceremony, every introduction, every marriage proposal felt the same, empty, soulless, meaningless rituals. One day, the tribal elders called for a major meeting. They told Akina that he had to make his choice and find the future queen. Unease spread among the people, for everyone knew that this decision would deeply affect the tribe. But fate was moving in a way none of them could have imagined, because the one who captured Akina's heart was not even one of the tribe's girls. She was a quiet orphaned shepherd who tended goats and sheep on distant hills, someone almost no one noticed, Malaika. Malaika's name was as quiet as the wind. No one truly knew her, she had no family to boast about her, she wore no fancy clothing, she didn't braid her hair and walk through the tribal square. She carried a silent beauty in her simplicity, living like a part of nature itself, with the wind brushing her face. She had lost her parents at a young age and was raised under the care of an elderly woman in the village, spending her days tending animals, lighting fires, and carrying water. Her suntanned skin, tired hands, and yet bright, shining eyes told the story of a quiet resilience. Even the few who occasionally saw her rarely paid attention. For in the eyes of the tribe, status was everything, and Malaika was at the very bottom of that hierarchy. Yet fate often hides the greatest lights in the quietest hearts. That day, as Akina returned from the hunt, their paths crossed. Malaika was leading her goats to the river when her foot slipped, and the water jug in her hand fell into the stream. As she bent down to retrieve it, the wind blew her hair across her face. Akina happened to pass by at that moment, and time seemed to slow. There was something different about her, unlike any of the dozens of girls he saw every day. No showiness, no arrogance, no desperate desire to impress. She felt like she belonged to nature, and nature belonged to her. Akina couldn't understand it, but what he felt was powerful. For the first time in many years, something warm touched his heart. Malaika recognized him immediately but lowered her head with flushed cheeks, stepping back nervously. She knew the gulf between the chief's son and a shepherd girl like herself was wider than any canyon. She believed she didn't even have the right to speak to him. Akina picked up the fallen jug from the water and handed it to her. Her voice trembled as she thanked him in embarrassment. In her eyes, Akina saw something everyone else had forgotten, something lost over the years. A pure heart. At that moment he realized that despite all the glamorous girls around him, she was the first to touch that quiet place inside him. When Akina returned to the palace that day, something had changed. The shy smile of a nameless shepherd girl had carved itself into his heart. Days passed, but that moment never left his mind. The elders pressured him again, asking, "You must choose, who do you want?" When Akina said he chose none of them, rumors spread quickly. Is there no one he likes? Is it someone from another tribe? Maybe he is cursed. But Akina's mind held only one face, that quiet girl by the river, with her windblown hair. Malaika. His desire to see her again grew stronger each day. Finally, one evening, he walked up the shepherd's path on the hills without telling anyone. Malaika was gathering her herd when Akina appeared as if emerging from the shadows. She startled, confused at why the chief's son would be in such a place. Akina assured her he meant no harm. "When I saw you that day, something inside me changed. I don't know why, but I want to know you." Malaika lowered her head. "I'm just an ordinary shepherd girl. It isn't right for you to even speak with me." Akina smiled. "Who you are doesn't matter to me. I just want to understand you." And so their secret meetings began. But these meetings were not merely the story of two hearts, they were the beginning of a destiny that would change the entire tribe. As the secret meetings between Akina and Malaika continued, their bond deepened with each passing day. Every encounter left a stronger mark on their hearts. They met at the quietest hour of the day, when the sun began to retreat behind the hills. Sometimes they talked. Sometimes they simply listened to the flow of the water, but each time, the connection between them grew a little more. At first, Malaika didn't want this closeness. because she knew this relationship would never be accepted by the tribe. Even forming a bond between a shepherd girl and the chief's son was considered almost a crime. And the balance within the tribe was extremely delicate, the chief families, the elders, and especially the families of the young women of marriageable age saw Akina's future marriage as a competition that would benefit their own status. So every time they met, Malaika kept telling Akina, "This is wrong. This will put you in danger. Who am I to be worthy of the chief's son?" But Akina always replied with the same determination, "What you are matters to my heart, not to the world. I don't look for my worth in other people's eyes. No one can stop me from choosing you." Whenever Malaika heard such words, she both trembled and feared them, because no one had ever treated her as if she were valuable. She had always lived in the background, silent, speaking to animals and avoiding people. One day, their meetings were finally noticed by the tribe. The rumors first spread in whispers, "Akina is meeting a girl in the hills. Whose daughter is she? We can't even guess, no one in the tribe knows her." As time passed, the whispers grew louder until the rumors reached the tribal chiefs. The chiefs were furious, for each of them had been planning for years to have their own daughter marry Akina. Such a marriage would increase their power, raise their status, and strengthen their lineage. To them, this was more than a marriage, it was a war for influence. So the idea of an unknown girl capturing Akina's heart was a direct threat. The chiefs gathered and sent a secret scout to investigate the truth. The scout followed Akina for days and eventually witnessed his meeting with Malaika. When he returned, he said, "Akina is seeing a shepherd girl. The girl has no family. A complete orphan." This news hit the tribe like a bomb. The elders grew angry, the chiefs outraged, and the young girls jealous, because if a shepherd orphan was chosen, it meant years of carefully made plans collapsing to dust. But the real disaster erupted when the tribe's leader, Akina's father Mirogi, heard about it that night. His anger was so great he nearly broke his staff in half. "My son, the future of my bloodline, marry a shepherd girl? When there are hundreds of noble girls in this tribe?" he roared. The elders agreed. "We must make Akina forget this." The next morning, Akina was summoned before his father. The chief sat by the great council fire, watching him with stern eyes. Mirogi looked straight into his son's eyes and asked, "I heard the rumors are true. Are you meeting a shepherd girl?" Akina, unafraid of anything, raised his head and said, "Yes." A wave of murmurs filled the council. Chiefs exchanged furious whispers. Mirogi slammed his fist against the stone floor. "In this tribe, there is one rule when choosing a wife. You marry someone suitable for your lineage. That is final." But Akina did not waver. "The only person suitable for me is her." The council broke into chaos again. One of the chiefs stood up, shouting, "A shepherd girl? We cannot accept such a choice. It will ruin the tribal order." Akina's voice cut through the air like an arrow striking stone. "Tribal order is not meant to chain people's hearts." His words echoed across the square. Young men were impressed, while some elders trembled with rage, for what Akina had said was a kind of freedom no one had dared to speak of until now. Pressure on Akina increased. His father considered imprisoning him, forcing him to change his mind. But Akina remained determined, "I choose her. No matter the cost." Then the chiefs made a decision, Malaika had to be removed. No one knew who said it first, but a whisper passed through the room, "If the girl is gone, the problem is gone." It was one of the most dangerous decisions the tribe had ever made. Malaika knew nothing of any of this. She was busy tending her animals, carrying water, helping the old woman who raised her. But that night, 3 men from the tribe set out. Their mission was clear: frighten Malaika, drive her away, or, if necessary, eliminate her. While Malaika walked alone in the hills, she suddenly heard footsteps behind her. When she turned, she saw 3 masked men approaching her in the darkness. Fear stole her breath. She tried to run, but tripped over a stone and fell. The men surrounded her. Tears filled her eyes. "What have I done to you? I've harmed no one." She pleaded. The men shouted, "You will stay away. Stay away from the chief's son, or this will be your end." Just then, a shadow burst out of the darkness. Akina had arrived. Rage burned in his eyes. He fought the men fiercely, fists, kicks, bodies crashing against the stones. Eventually the attackers fled, but Akina's shoulder was injured. Malaika held him with tearful eyes. "I prayed you wouldn't be harmed. I never wanted to see you like this." Akina gently held her face and whispered, "No one can touch you. I will do anything to protect you." That night, they both understood something clearly. This was no longer just love. It was a bond that had tied their destinies together, but the tribe was only getting started. The real storm had yet to break. Akina's fight to protect Malaika did not end that night. Even before his wound had healed, the pressure inside the tribe grew heavier, because the chiefs had never expected him to go this far or to defy his own people for her sake. But Akina did not back down, no matter what his father said. No matter how much the elders pushed or how many threats came from powerful families. He held on to one truth: he had chosen Malika, and nothing could change that. Malika, on the other hand, was consumed with guilt. She believed she was the reason Akina was suffering and cried at night whispering, "I wish he had never noticed me. I wish I had never entered his life." Yet no matter how much she tried to distance herself, her heart kept pulling her back to him. Their bond was too strong. Once two hearts touched, distance only made the pain grow. One day, Akina secretly visited the small hut where she lived. She was cleaning wool at the doorway when she saw him and quickly lowered her head. "Akina, you shouldn't be here. They're searching for you everywhere." "I don't want more trouble," she said. Akina knelt and held her hands. "You're not trouble. You're the strength that keeps me standing." Tears streamed down Malika's face, but Akina's determination felt like a hand calming a storm. Meanwhile, the tribal chiefs were preparing something bigger. Once they realized Akina would never abandon Malika, they devised a plan to destroy his reputation, weaken his leadership, and turn the people against him. In a council meeting, they made a final decision: if Akina chooses the orphaned shepherd girl, the tribe will reject him and strip him of his right to become chief. When this announcement was made in the tribal square the next morning, everyone was shocked. Some young men were outraged, others stayed silent out of fear. The elders supported the decision, the chiefs increased their pressure, and the women waited for a chance to push their own daughters forward. Chaos had begun. That night, women and girls of the tribe formed a line in front of Akina's house: braided hair, plant perfumes, bright fabrics, each one hoping to catch his attention, believing he might change his mind. But Akina didn't even step outside. His heart knew only Malika, and no other face could reach him. When this spread through the tribe, a new rumor rose: he must be under a spell. Why else would he choose an orphan? Even the old healers whispered, maybe the girl truly cast something on him. But Malika didn't even know what magic was. All she knew was the voice of nature, the peace of animals, and the silence of her loneliness. Still, prejudice was quickly replacing truth. One night, several women went to Malika's hut and kicked the door. Alone inside, she jumped in fear. Their faces were filled with rage. "Because of you our daughters' futures are ruined. Because of you the chief's plans collapsed. How dare you, a low orphan girl, touch the chief's son?" they shouted. Malika trembled, unable to speak. They pushed her, and as she fell, tears rolled down her cheeks. She had no strength to defend herself. In that moment a shadow appeared, shoving the women back. It was Akina again. His breath shook with fury. "If anyone touches her again, forget the tribal laws." "I won't forget." This only worsened the conflict. The next morning, the chiefs gathered and declared that Akina had to be stopped by force. "If you don't control your son, the tribe will fall apart," they told Chief Mirogi. Mirogi remained silent, torn between pride and fatherhood, but he eventually yielded to the chief's pressure. That evening, when Akina returned home, tribal guards stopped him. They tried to tie his hands, and when he resisted, Mirogi stepped in. "Enough!" he shouted. "I am telling you for the last time. Give up that girl, or you will lose your right to lead this tribe." Akina looked straight into his father's eyes. "You raised me to be strong, but now you want me to sell my heart for power. I love Malika, and I choose her." Mirogi looked away, because in Akina's eyes he saw his own youth. He too had once loved someone but had been forced to marry another because of the tribe. His past echoed back at him, but pride would not let him admit it. One of the chiefs then shouted, "Let there be a tribal gathering. Akina must declare his choice before the people, and judgment will be given." The next morning, the tribal square overflowed with people. A great fire burned in the center, surrounded by elders, chiefs, and leaders. Akina was summoned forward. Everyone held their breath. Chief Mirogi raised his voice. "My son, the time has come to choose your wife. Who do you choose?" Without hesitation, Akina answered in a voice that echoed across 1,000 ears, "Malika." Chaos erupted. Women screamed, chiefs leapt to their feet, young girls cried. The elders shouted together, "This defies our order. We reject this choice. An orphan shepherd cannot become the mother of the tribe." Akina stood firm. "I choose the path of my heart." Then, from within the crowd, someone stepped forward, Malika. She had come even though no one had called her. When the people saw her, they hurled insults. "This is your fault. Leave this place. You poisoned his mind." Akina moved toward her, but she raised her hand to stop him. Her eyes were full of tears, but her voice was steady. "Akina, everyone is against me because of you. I can't let you suffer more. If the tribe does not want me, I will go." Akina froze. "No. You will not leave," he shouted, but Malika gave him a small, painful smile. "It's not that I want to leave you. I'm afraid of destroying your future." A chief yelled, "Then let the girl be cast out. That will end this matter." The crowd cheered. Akina slammed his spear into the ground. No one will cast her out. Without her, this tribe is already broken. But the chiefs had already made their judgment. Malika stepped back in fear as the crowd pushed her, tears streaming down her face. Unable to bear it anymore, Akina shouted with all his strength, "She will be my wife. Whether you accept it or not." The tribe fell silent. Every eye turned to him, because those words meant open defiance of tribal law. Akina knew he had stepped onto a path with no return. Malika's hand trembled as he walked to her and took it. "Wherever you go, I will follow." His words split the tribe in two, some admired his courage, others were horrified. But one thing was certain, there was no turning back now. After that day, the tension within the tribe did not fade. Instead, a heavy silence settled like the beginning of a new era, and Akina and Malika were now in full view, watched closely by everyone who tried to interpret their every move. While Malika struggled with the hostile looks from the tribe, Akina stayed alert at all times to protect her, and even the smallest step or glance from her strengthened his determination. As days passed, many people began to recognize the undeniable nature of their bond. The young admired Akina's resolve, and some of the elders sighed quietly as they remembered their own lost youth. Yet the chiefs and certain jealous families still refused to give up, gathering to search for opportunities to twist small mistakes into major problems and spread new rumors. During this time, Akina realized that protecting the tribe required not only strength but also intelligence and patience, and he decided to confront the chiefs directly. He invited them one by one, expressed his thoughts, honored the ancient traditions, and presented reforms that would bring a new understanding. Malika stood beside him, a quiet yet powerful presence that drew everyone's attention. Among the young people, conversations began. "Do you see that Akina is on the right path? Malika is truly different. It's not only Akina who's changed because of her." These whispers signaled a quiet revolution within the tribe, as people slowly learned to stand with a leader willing to step outside the old order. One day, news arrived from a distant region. Another tribe had proposed a union, a decision that depended entirely on Akina's resolve as a leader. If he firmly chose to remain with Malika, the union would fail. If he obeyed tradition and rejected her, the tribes would unite, securing a powerful alliance. This put Akina under even greater pressure, forcing him to choose between his heart and the tribe's expectations, yet he proved once more that he had already chosen the path of his heart. During the grand gathering in the tribal square, Akina spoke, "Strength is not measured by blood or tradition. True strength is shaped by justice and love. I have chosen with my heart, and my choice is Malika." His words echoed through the crowd. Some applauded, some nodded quietly, and some frowned in anger. Malika stood at his side, facing the tribe without fear, her confidence turning her into a symbol of new hope, marking the fall of old traditions and the rise of a new way. After that day, the people gradually began accepting Akina and Malika. The young admired their love, and the elders observed with silent acceptance. But the chiefs had not completely surrendered. Small intrigues, clever schemes, and nightly whispers continued as they tried to influence the people. Akina and Malika overcame every obstacle by supporting each other. Every challenge, every attack, only drew them closer and strengthened their bond. As time passed, Akina's leadership was recognized not only for his strength but also for his wisdom and fairness, and people began to respect his decisions. Malika came to be seen not merely as Akina's partner but as a wise and courageous guide. Young girls followed her example, inspired by her bravery. One day, a group of merchants from distant lands arrived, seeking to trade with the tribe. When their offers were accepted, Akina made decisions not only for economic gain but for the welfare and security of the people. And Malika stood beside him, carefully evaluating each proposal for the good of the tribe. This period brought great transformation. People learned to step beyond old habits, to think differently, and to act together under the leadership of Akina and Malika. The chiefs could no longer resist and slowly surrendered. Ancient customs gave way to new understanding, and the tribe began living in harmony and peace. The love between Akina and Malika became legendary. People spoke of their courage, devotion, and determination, and new generations grew up hearing their story. At night, sitting by the fire in their hut, they held each other's hands in silence and dreamed of the future. Even when threats came from neighboring tribes trying to test the borders and seize power, Akina and Malika, trusted by their people, faced them with bravery and strategy, protecting their tribe once again. Every hardship strengthened their love, united the tribe, and preserved peace. Over time, the tribe became stronger, wiser, and more harmonious than ever before. The story of Akina and Malika became not just a tale of two lovers, but a symbol of transformation, courage, and determination, a legend passed down for generations. And every day, when they looked at each other, they knew that despite all the challenges, love could overcome any obstacle and that following the path of the heart was always the right choice. For true strength lies in the steps taken with courage. In the end, Akina and Malika not only held each other together but kept the entire tribe united. The bond they built with love, justice, and bravery became an eternal legend, strengthening them through every trial as the tribe moved forward not in the shadow of the past but in the light of unity and hope.